Hi, it's James from Madison's Residential and welcome to this week's vlog. Well, quite a bit has gone on since I last spoke to you 2 weeks ago. The Prime Minister obviously has resigned, and since that time, Wes Streeting has come out and said he will not stand for Prime Minister, and Andy Burnham seems to be the front runner and perhaps just sole contender. Mr. Burnham came out yesterday and gave an inkling as to what we may expect should he become our next Prime Minister, mentioning that he is going to undertake the biggest change and building for council houses across the UK since the war. Obviously, we shall wait further information on that. There was also speculation as to what he may do with regards to tax. Some speculation that he may introduce a capital gains tax on properties. That could be in addition to inheritance tax. And elsewhere, speculation that he may abolish council tax and stamp duty and introduce a tax on properties. I read in one article that could be up at 0.48%. But let's watch this space, and I'm sure that you can be certain that Deborah and I will bring you further updates on that as things develop. The key thing is, however, that it does, of course, dent confidence in the market. We're not entirely certain that it will be Mr. Burnham, although I don't think you can get much more certain. But of course, what we don't know is who'll be the next Chancellor, and markets do not like uncertainty. And that is certainly what is within the market at the moment. The Bank of England over the last 2 weeks has kept base rate at 3.75%. And that has meant that mortgage rates remain high. And whilst there are still buyers in the market, I can absolutely guarantee that it is just taking longer for buyers to make decisions, and they are giving further thought to the house buying process. So it's going to be great once we know and once we have some certainty as to what's happening. Within the rental sector, however, we've seen some great resilience within Tunbridge Wells. Over the month of June, we saw 250 properties let. And most certainly the engine room for that was 2-bedroom properties, either houses or flats. Typically, a 2-bed property will rent for about £1,500 within the locality. But what's also been really encouraging is how quickly family homes have been renting as well. It is usual to see a 4-bed, higher priced property take a little bit longer than, for example, a 1 or 2-bed property to rent. But that's not been the case over the last 4 weeks. And we have seen really good demand for family properties within this area, which is fantastic news. And indeed, I'll mention a lovely family property that we've got coming to market at the end of this. Elsewhere within rentals, on June the 22nd, we saw a law passed that gives local councils greater powers to go in and investigate rental properties within the private rental sector. This comes under the HHSRS, which is the Housing Health and Safety Rating System. Sorry, I have to look to my left because it's such a mouthful and I get tongue twisted on it. What this means, there has been for a long time 29 standards within the HHSRS. That's now been consolidated to 21, and it covers areas such as damp, mold, electrical safety, essentially wanting to provide renters with a safe and comfortable home in which to live in, which of course is their right. So I think this is a great thing. What it means is that councils can carry out spot checks and issue fines of up to £7,000. So that should make those landlords who are perhaps less scrupulous than others think twice and ensure that they do carry out maintenance work as and when it's needed. And also the importance of continuing to monitor properties and spot these things and nip them in the bud and stop them developing. Finally, about the property that we've got to launch. We have a beautiful family home on Broadcroft. It's a lovely large family property split over 3 floors and with a lovely large rear garden and indeed garden to the front. The property is available at £3,500 per month, and our existing tenants are very sad to be leaving there, but they've actually now purchased a property. But they've said how much they've loved living in the property, being so close to the Pantiles, and where the family has felt really together despite being able to separate themselves out into separate rooms. If you're interested in coming to have a view of this property, do give us a call. I'll look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time and leaving you in Deborah's hands this time next week. Thanks for listening.